Today we're going to be talking about one of the only redeeming factors about the new Matrix movie. And that is the philosophy, because it did have some interesting philosophical arguments that I agreed with, and others that I found to be quite cringe and shoehorned in. But they're important to actually discuss because you should actually give praise and credit where credit is due, and you should criticize things that require to be criticized. So, one of the interesting philosophies that the Matrix has always talked about is the issue of choice. So, the concept that we as individuals get to make choices which affect the rest of our lives. And this has to do with the choice that Neo has when taking the red or the blue pill. However, in the Matrix Resurrections, they come back to this argument and they wonder if such a choice is even a choice to begin with. In other words, if you are presented with a binary choice between something that you may be reluctant to do, or the second choice, which will have incredibly negative consequences for you if you choose it, is it really a choice to begin with, or are you just being coerced? For example, what does Neo know at this point in the movie? Well, he knows that there are these eldritch abomination Lovecraftian horror entities that are after him with omniscient power capable of sewing his mouth shut, and they control the police and they are after him. And one of the choices that he has is to take the blue pill and wake up the next day with these Lovecraftian horrors still on his trail. The other choice is to take the red pill and figure out what is going on and possibly get a fighting chance against the agents. So is it really a choice? Is it a choice if someone puts a gun at your head and tells you to give him the money, or else they're going to shoot you and take the money anyway? Is paying taxes to the government really a choice? I mean, sure, you can choose not to pay them, and then you can go to prison, and the government is going to take your assets anyway and force you to pay the taxes. So is it really a choice? Many legal systems around the world would consider this to be coercion. For example, if a person puts a gun at your head and tells you to sign a contract that gives them the deed to your house, such a contract would be null and void because you're signing it under duress. You don't really manifest your will, you don't really choose to do it, you only do it because you want to avoid getting shot. So the Matrix does explore this interesting predicament, and the answer they come up with is that sometimes there might actually be a third choice that is initially hidden. For example, in the case of a mugger that tells you to give him the wallet or else he's going to shoot you. The choice might seem that it's between giving him the money or not, but there is the third choice, which can be that of running away or trying to tackle the mugger and take his weapon. Paying property tax might be like a binary solution. You can choose to pay them, or you can choose to go to prison and the government then seizes your assets anyway. Or, for example, you can just buy an RV and live in a mobile home. You can use many legal ways and legal loopholes in order to avoid taxes, which many rich people and corporations actually do. You can choose to go into another country where the government is a lot more weak and can't collect taxes, such as Afghanistan or Somalia. Now, the third choice might not be optimal, it might still be a bad choice, but what the movie tries to tell you is that the third choice usually exists. It doesn't have to be binary. Another interesting philosophical point that I full-heartedly agree with is that in the first trilogy of The Matrix, you get the impression that if offered the choice, every single person would take the red pill. Every single person would want to unplug from the Matrix and experience the real world. And while sure, some people might be put off by the real world and they would want to go back in, you never doubt the fact that if you were in that situation, you would probably take the red pill just to explore, just to see how the real world is like. Matrix Resurrection points out, however, that this is not how human beings operate. In fact, an overwhelming amount of people might choose to take the blue pill just because of safety and just because they want to return to habit. People don't like leaving their comfort zone. People want to maintain a routine in their life. So for a person that already has a family in the Matrix and is happy, is probably not going to take the red pill. And the answer is that there are probably more people like that than people who are willing to risk experiencing how the real world is like. They might enjoy the dream than actually figuring out what things really are. They might enjoy being happy even if the happiness is fake, as long as they can maintain that happiness. And at the end of the day, I have to say it's not necessarily a right or wrong decision. Think about it. If you are a person that is completely disabled, living in a pod, connected to the Matrix, why would you want to experience the real world in your disabled body when you can actually be in the Matrix and you can have a family and you can be surrounded by people where you are actually happy and you don't even know about the real life that would await you outside? So the answer is that, yeah, indeed, it's not surprising that a lot of people chose not to take the red pill when presented with the opportunity. Finally, one of the most important philosophical things in the movie, I would say, has to do with their meta commentary, which completely ruined the movie, by the way, and which is why I wouldn't recommend it to anyone, because it's clear that the writer took their piss on this IP. However, they explain why they took the piss on the IP. It's due to the fact that Warner Brothers forced them to make this IP. And within the movie, they actually state that Warner Brothers has the right to force them to make another movie in order to milk the audience for money. So you now get to see that corporations aren't trying to create art. They are just trying to create a product and sucker people out of their money. Which is probably why the Wachowski sister didn't put much heart and soul into this particular movie. She went, okay, you want a quick cash grab? I'll give you a quick cash grab. Hopefully, this bad movie has ended any future sequels or any plans for something new. Because my God, it was atrocious. The philosophical things that I'm praising right now are just a small drop in an ocean of bitterness. They are not enough to actually save the movie. And as such, I cannot, in good heart or good consciousness, recommend for people to go and see it. It is an abysmal film that does have a couple of gems here and there when it comes to making some philosophical statements. But I do not go to a movie to be lectured about philosophy. I go to a movie in order to be entertained. And if you can mix some philosophy in it, more the better. But this is not a movie that is entertaining. In fact, I was bored throughout the entire film, which is why I'm not going to recommend it to anyone. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.